Hello friends, my name is Ryan. I'm going to tell you a story named The Man Who Saved a Billion Lives, Norman Borlaug's Green Revolution, which is a very amazing story full of twists. So, let's start. It all began in the shadow of a crumbling world, where hunger gnawed at the bones of humanity. The year was 1944, and the spectre of famine haunted nations across the globe. Fields lay barren, the soil cracked and lifeless, and millions stared into the abyss of starvation. Amid this despair, a man with humble beginnings and an unyielding determination stood poised to change the fate of mankind. Norman Borlaug, a scientist from a small town in Iowa, was not your ordinary man. With piercing blue eyes and a calm demeanor, he carried a fire within him, a burning desire to fight the enemy that had claimed more lives than any war or hunger. But who was this man, and how did he manage to alter the course of history? Norman's journey started in Mexico, a land struggling with low crop yields and a growing population. The government had called for help, and Norman answered. He stepped onto the cracked, sun-scorched fields and faced a seemingly impossible task: to feed a starving nation. The farmers were skeptical, their faces lined with years of toil and failure. They didn't trust this foreigner with lofty promises. Norman, however, wasn't deterred. He immersed himself in the fields, working alongside the farmers, his hands as calloused as theirs. Day after day, under the blazing sun, he experimented with wheat varieties, tirelessly crossing different strains to create a plant that could withstand disease and harsh climates. It was a battle against nature itself, and nature fought back with blights, pests, and droughts. But Norman was relentless. After years of toil and failure, a breakthrough came. He developed a high-yield, disease-resistant wheat variety. The stalks stood tall and golden, their heads heavy with grain. It was a sight that brought tears to the eyes of farmers who had lost hope. The success in Mexico was only the beginning. Norman's work caught the attention of global leaders as famine loomed over countries like India and Pakistan. Millions faced starvation as their populations surged beyond the capacity of their agricultural systems. Norman was called to India during a time of extreme political tension and fear. He arrived with seeds, not just any seeds, but seeds of hope. The implementation of his agricultural innovations wasn't without obstacles. There were political hurdles, bureaucratic red tape, and logistical nightmares. Trucks carrying the precious wheat seeds were often delayed or stopped by corruption and red tape. Farmers resisted the unfamiliar techniques, clinging to traditional methods passed down through generations. Opposition groups criticized the use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides that accompanied the Green Revolution. And then, the monsoon season hit India with a ferocity that seemed like the heavens themselves were testing Norman's resolve. Floodwaters submerged fields, washing away months of hard work. Norman, who had never been one to shy away from adversity, rallied his team. They replanted crops, battling the elements with grit and determination. The stakes were life and death, for millions. By the mid-1960s, a miracle unfolded. The fields of India and Pakistan turned green with an abundance of wheat. The harvest was so plentiful that the silos overflowed, and ships once filled with food aid left ports empty. Norman's Green Revolution had not only saved these nations from famine but also transformed them into exporters of grain. The headlines in newspapers worldwide hailed the triumph, the man who fed the world. But there was a twist in the tale. Norman's work didn't come without controversy. Critics argued that the Green Revolution relied heavily on chemical inputs, which could harm the environment in the long run. Some claimed it widened the gap between rich and poor farmers. The very innovations that had saved lives were now being questioned for their sustainability. Norman, however, faced the criticism with humility. He acknowledged the challenges and continued to advocate for responsible agricultural practices. He believed that humanity had the ingenuity to solve problems without turning its back on progress. Despite his monumental achievements, Norman never sought fame or fortune. When he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1970, he humbly said, "The Green Revolution has won a temporary success in man's war against hunger and deprivation. It has given humanity a breathing space. But the frightening power of human reproduction must also be curbed, otherwise, the success of the Green Revolution will only be ephemeral." Norman's story doesn't end with the Nobel Prize. He spent the rest of his life traveling to countries in need, sharing his knowledge and expertise. His tireless efforts saved over 1 billion lives, yet he remained a modest man who lived to serve humanity. When asked about his legacy, he simply said, "You can't build a peaceful world on empty stomachs." The Green Revolution sparked by Norman Borlaug is a story of hope, determination, and the power of science to overcome even the greatest challenges. It reminds us that one person, armed with vision and perseverance, can change the course of history. Norman's life was a testament to the idea that humanity's potential is limitless when fueled by compassion and innovation. And so, my friends, as we reflect on this incredible tale, let us remember the lesson it teaches, that even in the darkest of times, hope can bloom like golden fields of wheat. Norman Borlaug's story inspires us to believe in the power of one idea, one action, one person, to make a difference. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more tales of extraordinary people and events, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Let's try every day. Together, we can explore the stories that shape our world and inspire us to make it a better place. Let's try every day, because inspiration never stops.